What is up, everybody? This is Hector the Connector, Rico Suave, and Inca Barbie. We're with AI23 Media, and we're bringing you Club 23 today, and we're bringing you all the latest AI news and more. Hey, Rico, you want to start us off, brother?
Of course, we got some amazing topics to discuss, starting with why is everything looking the same, from architecture to Instagram ads, and how we can use AI for inspiration. Then Natalie's going to show us ways that we can get ChatGPT to write in our own voice. And then we're going to discuss something that just came out, how a brain implant with AI gave a woman with paralysis her voice back. Woo! That's
Who
some
doesn't
crazy
need their
stuff.
voice, right?
But I got a question for you guys. Have you noticed how everything is starting to look the same? I mean, I'm talking like Instagram ads, Instagram models, coffee shops. Have y'all
Yes.
noticed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Posts.
I see things online and it's like everyone has your house is supposed to look the same, your style is the same. Like there's not style maybe some styles, right? It's like even ads. Like a lot of the ads, a lot of the content I see online, you're like, yeah. Seen this, been there, done that, right?
Everybody's following trends, color trends, style trends. Like, really? So there's a leader and a bunch of followers. I like being a little bit different.
Well, I mean, I see it with my daughter in TikTok. Someone creates one dance with one song, and then a million other kids do it,
Yeah.
and everyone's doing the same thing. I'm like, but I don't get why. Like, what's the purpose of you all doing?
Right? We're in a culture of copying, man. It's like,
But sucks. Let me show you this article that I found. I thought it was
Check it out.
really unique. It's called The Age of Average. And these two Russian artists right here, don't even want to say their names because I don't want to mess it up. But in 1990, they wanted to do art for Americans. They wanted to start understanding what is the American taste. And so they hired a marketing firm to do focus groups, find out the colors, the shapes, designs, indoor, outdoor. And once they got the idea, they're like, all right, great, we're going to start painting. So they started painting. And they did the same thing with 9 other countries. And this is what came of it. They all wanted blue. They all wanted a tree. They all wanted water. So as we think we're so unique, we think we're so different, but in reality, we're all kind of going into the same direction.
Okay.
And it gets worse. Guys, it gets worse. So, okay, this is 1990. They did this thing. And so as the author of this article is talking about it, he starts showing other unique things that are supposed to be unique. This is Airbnb. This is an Airbnb style that has become prevalent around the world. Every picture here is from a different country.
Holy cow. I thought I would have stayed at one of those places. It looks so familiar.
I probably have those pinned.
Exactly. It's all Pier 1 imports.
That's it. Exactly.
West Elm, right?
Yeah. And then have you noticed this? If you go to those trendy coffee shops, they all kind of look the same.
Oh my gosh.
These are all different countries.
You're right.
Again, these are
That's
different
insane.
countries.
Wait, those are different countries?
Yep. These are in different countries. These pictures are all in different areas. So you're starting to see that kind of hipster style that maybe took off in Brooklyn. It got copied in LA, Tokyo, Barcelona. And then let's see, architecture in cities. You notice how all these buildings, it's kind of similar. There's some of them kind of even look alike.
Let's check them out. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
and then
landscape.
this is something, you seen this in your neighborhood? These kind of apartment buildings?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are all in America. They're these cheap, they're called casual architecture. And as I read the article, they were saying that a lot of these builders are building these apartments really fast, really cheap, and they're using the same material. So to be cost effective, they'll build the next building with the same material, basically copying the one they just did. So there's no uniqueness in any of these, and these are going up everywhere in America. So each city is losing its flavor.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're optimizing for efficiency. Let's just do it as fast as we can, as cheap as we can, and so everything is going to look the same because it's manufactured for the masses.
So lacking culture, lacking uniqueness, lacking a vibe. It's like the same vibe in every single place.
That's what I think is the problem. right? Like people who when you're optimizing for the wrong thing, you get results like this. Even when you look at like people who are creating content with AI tools, it's like anybody can go on there and say, "Write me an article about how to make $1 million," and it's like, why? Why is that the thing that everybody is trying to do?
They're losing their authenticity, they're copying each other, and you're right, it's
Yeah.
efficiency, but it comes at a cost. You start losing culture, you start losing what makes you unique. I think about Philadelphia. I love that city. I think that city has its own unique flavor. New York has its own unique flavor. But if you start copying all these same looks and everything has the same grocery store next door, it's all the same brands like McDonald's, where is that uniqueness of that local shop, that local coffee shop, the local restaurant? I
That's a
look
challenge.
for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm curious too, Rico, because you're in the Hollywood world. And so, like, a lot of people who have influence, celebrities, right? If they post something like, oh, I use this, lipstick, or here's how my couch looks, people go buy those things,
I'm
right?
glad you said that. I'm going to skip some of these. Here, this is a really good one. So this is the Instagram face,
Oh
and it
my
got
gosh.
famous because of the Kardashians, and
Never heard of
she
them.
and that family,
Her
like blew up.
what?
They they blew up on Instagram, and then everyone else started copying them. They wanted to get the same tan, the same hair, the same lip filler. So what they were saying is
Ugh.
all these young people, young girls especially, are wanting to look like someone, and they're starting to get all the fillers, all the injections to look exactly like that person instead of being themselves. And that to me is kind of scary. I have a young daughter, and that's the last thing I want her to do.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's a bad fad for sure.
Yeah.
But what's so interesting to me is like, why though? Like, why is it happening?
Um, social media. Social media is just like personifying these people, and I don't know. I think it's a lot of mental illness
Ugh.
around. Ooh, geez.
Ew.
Okay. So can you tell me what
Look
you
at
see
that.
in this one? What do you see that's similar in these movie posters? I'm in the movie business. What do you think these guys all
Oh,
did? The
Shock
same. These are
value.
all different movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
shock value.
wow.
And so these are all
Jeez.
different movies. They're all doing the same thing. I couldn't tell you what the difference is in
Ugh,
any of the
that's
movies based
disgusting.
on the poster. Okay, we'll get out of that one.
Turn it
Oh,
away.
personal development. This is the
Yeah.
latest thing
Oh
in personal
my
development.
gosh. You're right. Okay, I had not
Wow.
even thought about this, but this is like,
Yeah. Exactly.
oh yeah, people dropping the F bomb like
Yeah.
that. It's
And it's
so funny that
cool.
you say this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool. But yeah,
Wow.
the more
Hmm.
you read into this, and we'll share this link in the notes in the description, because it's a really good read. So this is another one that I thought was really fascinating. I think it's this one right here, Clinique. They did this in 1980, where they took a picture of their products in like a medicine cabinet. And it did so well. Well, now with the advent of social media, all these brands right here at the bottom are copying that same look. So they're all trying
Yeah.
to do the same thing. Just
Wow.
copy after
It
copy after copy. These are
it's
all
crazy,
different
man.
ads for different
Wow.
businesses, but they're all the same. Like
Yeah.
these are all those electric toothbrushes with that
Yeah.
nice soft pink background. I mean, it just keeps
Yeah.
going and going. And here, back to our Instagram models. How many of you have seen this?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The
Oh
girl
yeah.
looking in the horizon wearing
And
her
the
hat.
hat, like the hat thing is totally a thing. My friend owns a hat company. Like,
At
yeah.
least they have different hats, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Debatable.
For me in the
So
creative world, I see like, I have to create consumer packaged goods is what I do, and I have to create something different. So it's always a sea of sameness. And when somebody's zigging and they're following these trends, I tend to zag so that I can be disruptive in the marketplace. And I think we're like that. We're kind of like trailblazers, us three.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm sitting here thinking about why is this happening? And I wonder like what you were saying, Hector, about social media. Is it that social media has caused us to just be sleepwalking through life? And we're like, oh, a thing an influencer said, I better jump on that. I better do that because it's the cool thing. When did you even stop to say, well, is it cool, or do you like genuinely want to go hike the mountains and take a picture with your hat? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's
no,
it's that whole
I
age
think
of
you make a
followers too.
I think there's multiple things if you think about it. So in Hollywood, if you notice, most of the movies are remakes or they're
Yeah.
sequels to other movies, mostly the Avengers and all the hero movies. Hollywood has a problem, and the problem is they know what works. It's already worked once and it's working again. So they want to stay in that realm instead of taking a chance. And then comes a company called A24. A24 says, you know what, we're going to do our own unique movies that are multicultural, going to be a little bit avant-garde, a little bit different, and we're just going to do everything differently. And they've taken off. They've done all these amazing movies. Their stuff is not Hollywood. They have their own style. And I think that's what's missing. People are afraid. One, they see what's working, and so they want to copy it. And two, they're afraid to be themselves or afraid to stand out. In a sea of everyone being the same, they want to stay there. It's safe. I think we need to be taking
Well,
chances.
I also think too that something will work. Like and this is my personal opinion. So I don't know if you saw Stranger Things. It's like on
Love
season
it.
4 on Netflix, right? Love it. I personally thought season 1 was outstanding, right? Season 2, you were like, okay, well, I love season 1, I'll give it a chance. But it almost was like, because season 1 was so successful, they tried to repeat it, but then the storyline wasn't as good. And then season 3, it was like, hey, let's add in all this like gore and like kind of like the eyeball thing. Let's just like get people to react. And it was like, it felt to me as if they were losing quality of the story and they were just adding. Sorry. My
What
kid's
happened?
iPad just connected to my headphones and it was so loud. Oh my gosh, that scared me so bad.
Speaking of shock value.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep these out for a minute. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
Anyway, what I was saying about, should we start that over? Like, what was that?
No, I love that. That was so funny. I want to keep that. That is,
Hey,
I
anyway,
love it. It's
the whole so what I'm saying with Stranger Things is like there's a lack of quality in the story and what really I think should be valued, and instead they're shoving in all this like disgusting monster slime, horror,
because they're running
whatever.
out. I was gonna say no.
Yeah,
They're running out of what to do, but they want to keep milking the machine or the goose, and
The
they're like,
money
give us
machine,
more
yeah.
gold. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they keep doing it even when they're losing the path. Like they forgot their mission, they forgot their vision. They're just we just got to keep trying to make money, and Hollywood is doing it, and I think a lot of people are doing it without realizing it comes at a cost. Like I feel like you.
yeah.
First season, loved it. I was addicted. Second season, it was good. Third, I think I stopped watching, and I was just like, oh, but I love this series so much. I was hurt.
Yeah. Like you'll give it a chance because you're like, well, I love it, but you're like, no, I want you to I want you to make a high quality product. I don't want you to just shock value me over and over and over and like increase the intensity with something that's not that good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I do have another question for you guys. Do you think that we can use AI for inspiration to help us separate ourselves? Like, let's think about the blue ocean strategy. Could you, in a world where everything's starting to look the same, could we implement that blue ocean strategy to separate ourselves? And can AI help us do that?
I think we just need to be our authentic selves, and I think that's where we're attracted to each other. That's why we vibe so well, and we have a uniqueness about each other, and I think that's why we're entrepreneurs, right? We're not rule followers; we're rule breakers, and I think we kind of blaze our own trail. And I think that we
Well, we do. But the thing, other entrepreneurs, they are rule breakers too, but they're also willing to go sell the same thing as everybody else.
and we're
Right?
not.
They're
No,
like,
no, we're
hey,
not. Yeah.
Here's someone's selling this. I better sell the same thing, even though it's not a high quality
Well,
product.
I think you're both seeing the same thing I'm probably seeing. These courses that are going, hey, we'll teach you how to make $1 million using AI. I'm like, but who are you? What have you
Right.
done?
Great.
And
When did you make your million, right?
We have a strong moral compass, and we're blazing a trail. We know who we are. We're still learning how to be ourselves, because sometimes we work for other people and we want to please them, and we're kind of people pleasers, and we want to mold ourselves so that we fit other other people's expectations. And when we're our true selves, we stand out. We're a little bit better. We're a little bit different.
Do you think we can use
It's
AI to help us find ourselves a little bit better? Because I feel that maybe with using AI, or really what I think makes people different is their exposure to different ideas. Most people don't get to travel a
okay.
lot. So if you don't
Amen.
travel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're kind of limited on your exposure. And if you're being exposed only digitally based on Instagram or YouTube, you're only getting a part of that exposure, because the real exposure is by being immersed in that world. So I feel like even using AI, you
Mm,
might get a little bit of exposure, but I think at the end of the day, to be unique, you have to
yeah.
do things outside of digital. You have to go and
Oh,
experience life.
absolutely. That's what.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
you
you
heard
get in
that?
these silos, right?
Yeah. Have you heard that
Oh,
that thing about when you wake up in the morning, you either have 5 coins in your pocket or none. And if you have 5 coins in your pocket, you go around through your day, and as you meet people, you give a coin away. It's kind of like losing energy. Well, I wake up every single day with empty pockets. And when I meet people, dude, it just fills me up. I get a coin from people, and hopefully I'm not draining them, but I just love people, and 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 I just like collect coin. I go to bed with a pocket full of coins, dude, because they just energize me. I love people. I'm passionate about people and being unique, and I find the uniqueness in people, and it's just awesome, dude.
What about you,
yeah. Well, you
Natalie?
got a gift. You got a gift. Um, I mean, I completely agree with the sentiment that we have to surround, like intentionally, have to surround ourselves with people who disagree with us, who think differently than us, and there's a lot of people who just don't know how to do that with civility and kindness. And then there's a lot of people who do. And the people who do and who are capable of doing that, they end up with better solutions. Because when you put a team into a room to solve a problem, like you need an engineer, you need an accountant, you need an artist, right? You need people who have diversity because it allows you to look at things from so many different angles. And that's where you get to all of a sudden say, oh my gosh, I never saw this before, but this is such a great way to solve this problem. And then someone else adds to it and says, oh, you're right. And what if we added this component or tweaked that? All of a sudden, you get something better because you're actually willing to go outside of your bubble and your myopic like echo chamber. That I think that's awesome.
I
I
love
think
that.
the human connection is everything, and yeah,
And I think it's also experience. You guys have read The Blue Ocean or know about it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you remember the story of Circus Soleil?
I
Tell
don't
us.
recall.
Okay, so the whole idea with Circus Soleil is, at the time, circuses were going down, like Ringling Brothers and all that, because of
Mm,
animals, cruelty to
yeah.
animals. They're also very expensive. So housing an animal is extremely expensive. The creator of Circus Soleil, let me share this. Um, he decided to put, here we go. He decided to do something different. So he knew the idea of circus, but he also knew the idea of theater, Broadway,
Mm,
operas. So he thought in a different way, what if
Yeah.
and there's a video here, we'll share this in the links. But he thought, what if I combine those instead of going after kids, which usually was what the circus was supposed to be? It's going after kids. So you get their parents to come, and that's how you make your money. He said, forget the kids. We're going to focus on higher end individuals who love the opera. They love the art. They're willing to pay higher end money for these tickets. And I'm going to give them an experience that is circus and show. And that is where
Mm.
Circus Soleil came from. And if you think about it, it's $1 billion industry, just his alone. You go to Vegas, what, they have
wow.
10 shows in Vegas?
Yeah.
He thought
Incredible.
differently, and he took two different worlds and combined them. And I think that's one of the ideas that I'm trying to say with the age of average. When everyone is doing the same thing, they're all zigging because they're all just being influenced by one person, one idea. How about you start taking different ideas from different worlds or different people that you meet and combine those to come up with something new?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, amen. I mean, I think that's the way to go, and I think that you are putting so much on the line, and it's like you're closing an entire door of opportunities by not being willing to look and mash things up and see outside of the own box that you live in.
And I
Yeah,
think
I
this is a
think
good transition. Oh, I was going to say, what are you going to say, Hector?
yeah. No, go for it.
I was going to say, I think this is a good transition on how to have ChatGPT speak in your voice or write in your
Oh
voice. And
yeah.
Natalee, we really want to know more
Yes,
about
100%.
that, because I think
Yes.
everyone is doing the same prompts. I see these things for $97. Here, let me give you 1,000 prompts that you can use. And I'm like, okay, so if 1,000 people are using that same prompt, they're going to get the same response, because no one is being authentically themselves or
Exactly.
finding their own little
Yeah.
voice. So show us how
Just
we can
1,000.
separate ourselves.
All right.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, with this whole idea of blue ocean and being different, I have a completely different way of helping people when it comes to building their personas. And so, the there's this three circles that I'll walk people through, and the three circles are, so the purple one is tell, like, what is it that you do best? What is your core competencies? What are you the best at? Then you got to take a look at what does your competition do best, because you can't kid yourself, right? We have competition because they do the same thing we do, but they do it a little bit differently, and you've got to be able to find the differences between those two things, right? Then you've got the green circle, which is what your clients want. So the only reason why we're in business is because we have clients who want to buy the things that we're selling, right? Or customers who want to buy the products that we're selling. So if you look at the overlap of these three areas, if you're overlapping what you do and your competition does best, nobody cares, because that's not in the zone where clients want to buy something.
Right.
Now, if you try to compete where your competition does better than you, and you can, and what they sell to your client, which is this losing zone here, it's outside of your what you do best zone, you can't compete there. You will lose. So don't try to go there. Where you should focus is on this is what the blue ocean area is, right? This is the winning zone. It's what the client wants and what you do best and what your competition can't match you at. And so I think that there's a lot of relevance in having your AI personas understanding who you are, who your competition is, and who your clients are, because then it allows you to find that winning zone. And so many people are not using the winning zone to create content, to create strategy, to implement marketing or sales solutions. They're just throwing stuff in there like, hey, ChatGPT, build me a social media calendar. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't calibrate your chat GPT or your AI that you're using with these three elements, you are losing.
Yeah. Wow, what a great
Wow.
chart. Good explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot
Yeah.
of
So true.
sense.
So we,
But I was gonna say, I do feel that people are really just copying each other. They're copying the same prompts that they're given by someone else, and they're not incorporating any of themselves into the AI.
Right.
yeah, I mean, think about it. If you think about AI and an algorithm as in a really, really simple way as a math equation, right? Or almost like baking a cake. If someone adds the same ingredients in, you're going to get the same cake every single
Mm-hmm.
time, right? But if you decide, you know what? I love me some raspberries. And so we're going to incorporate raspberries. Oh, but not just raspberries, but I also love cinnamon or whatever, right? Like you're going to bake something that's unique because your ingredients are different. So your ingredients into your AI personas have to include your target audience, your competitors, and you in order to come up with that unique area.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people on YouTube or Instagram, they're not even talking about these first parts that you're mentioning. They're just going right to just prompt this and get this result. But you haven't incorporated your business. What do you do?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
mine for gold in that content gold, you really got to dig deep. And I know you, Natalee, you dig deep. You can't just hit the surface and everybody's hitting the surface. Everybody's going like just skimming the surface. They're dazzled by ChatGPT or other tools, right? Other AI tools, and they're fascinating. But you know what? We can use them if we use our brain and we use our experience and our passion to just dig deep, and we're going to get gold. And that's what we're doing. We are like totally like infusing our knowledge and using AI to basically just light us up, light our clients on fire, using things that other people aren't doing.
Yeah, well, and I think there's a lot of places that you can look for clues too, right? Like the whole reason, or a lot of the reasons behind why AI23 was born was because we started to see problems in the marketplace. We started to see problems with content and media and what was coming out. And we were like, hold on, business leaders need real solutions that are trustworthy, right? Vetted, and they want someone that they can trust to guide them through this process, not someone who's making videos in the basement about how to like remake Star Wars characters, with AI or whatever.
You know
So,
what? You're a risk taker too. 6 months ago, you were being a badass and you were making a mark with your brand and utilizing AI probably more than anybody else that I know. You really, really took creating personas to the next level. And so I admire what you've done, and I'm learning from you. So
thank
thank
you.
you.
And we
I was going
want
to say,
people to learn from us too, right?
Natalee, could
Like
you
we've
kind of
got
go?
this.
I was gonna say, can you go
Go
back
ahead.
to the
Yeah,
PDF that you have up?
the
Can you
process.
kind of guide us through that process? Just maybe give us some examples, so that way we can share with the audience. So they're not. We're gonna share this too. So we'll share the PDF so they can go to our
Yeah,
website and get it. But if you can kind of just walk through the process with us, so we can have an idea of how do we do this ourselves. So if you're listening to this right
yeah.
now, we're gonna give you the example of how to start making ChatGPT sound like you.
Yeah, 100%. And here's one thing I want to say of the many people that I've spoken to and helped build AI personas with, a lot of them will come to me and be like, I don't really know what I want, but I want someone to kind of do this and this. And it's like, put that into Chat GPT and ask it, how can you help me? How can you help me? So the first thing that you want to do is you need to define a role that it's going to play for you, whatever that role might be. A lot of people are using it for strategy, sales and marketing. You can use it for customer service. It can be a financial analyst. It could be a life coach. I've got like a Tony Robbins, I'm like, oh, time for therapy. Like go to my Tony Robbins GPT, right? So the first thing you got to do is you got to assign it a role. You can also give it a personality, like be resourceful, be direct, be friendly, ask me questions and tell it where it needs to specialize. So, for example, if it is something you're using in marketing, you may want it to specialize in creating Facebook ad copy, right? Or professional LinkedIn articles. There are
Which are very different
there's
worlds.
nuance
Those are two
behind.
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of nuance behind like what is it that you're trying to output. Make sure you've trained it to be the best at creating that output. Don't generic is not worth it, right? The age of average is not worth it. You would pay way more money to a children's brain surgeon who has done surgery on 115-year-olds with cancer in their amygdala than you would a general doctor, right? Like
That's a
you
good
want the
point.
best of the
Yes.
best. So be the
Yeah.
best of the best, right? Don't settle for average. We're here to tell you to be the best of the best. And it just takes a little bit more effort than what most people are putting in,
Yeah.
right? So you define the role, you've got to give it core values, your philosophy, like tell it your stories, right? Tell it who you are and what you want to represent so that it communicates. I mean, the three of us had a really great call today with I don't know what you want to call him, like a potential partner almost in our business. And it was like he was sold because of the values that we bring to the table. Right.
And you know what?
So
I've never heard anyone bring any of this up using AI when it comes to this. You're the first person that
no.
I've heard bring in your core values, communicate your core values to the AI, to ChatGPT, so that it can start understanding what you're about. That's huge. That
Yeah.
already there, to me, in my mind, it's going to separate you from 95% of the competition because now you're
Yeah.
being very unique.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you've done that, right? And the other thing that's really cool too, I was talking about this with a client, like literally get on Zoom or whatever video, record yourself sharing stories. A lot of like executives, they'll have a lot of really cool war stories, right? We all have stories of things that happen to us that try to illustrate a point. If you start cataloging those, you can transcribe and feed those into your persona. Then it knows how to tell stories like you. How awesome is that?
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah. So, then like I talked about, you got to define the target audience. You got to be real specific. Don't just say things like, a high performance entrepreneur who's a mom. What does that mean? Right? Like you got to be real specific. You got to say people who are they're executive of a manufacturing business. They're trying to turn around the culture of the company. And the problems that they're thinking about at night are, who do I keep on the right bus? Who do I offload from the company? How do I save expenses? Like that is specific, right?
And,
Yeah.
You gotta
and then
be
tell us about
specific.
once you get these personas, how does that help you, Natalie? If you have a series of personas, how many like different personas do you actually use on a daily basis?
I almost thought that at some point I need to make an org chart for all of my personas because they fill these different roles, right?
Yeah.
So, primarily, I definitely have a persona that writes in my own voice so that I can have
Mhm.
assistance to publish content. I have a strategist. I have ones for each of my clients. I have one that builds brand strategy and positioning. And I have a separate one that then takes that strategy and turns it into plans, right? Like actionable plans. Then I have another one that actually does the copywriting. So I
Oh my
focus on keeping
gosh.
really narrow lanes for my AI
Mhm.
personas so that you do this job, then it gets passed on to this person who has this set of skills and does this job. And for me, I find that to be really, really helpful because I want my AIs to be specialists. I don't want them to be generalists.
I am getting a little bit of a clue. I mean, I'm always learning, but a clue into your life. You've got a husband, you've got 4 beautiful children, you've got a business, you got a couple of crazy partners in Reko and I. So this is helping you become more efficient so that you can carve out time with each of these things that matter in your life, right? You're an
Yeah.
awesome person, and I really appreciate both of you for doing what you do. So AI is creating efficiencies in our workplace and in our lives, and in some fun areas to allow us to do what we're doing today, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. Amen. Well, and I would say for whoever's listening, like look at AI as a couple of things. There's an outcome that you want to create, right? There's a result that you want from it. There's going to be tools that you need in order to make that happen. And then there's a process that can be repeatable and installed in your business so that you don't have to do it anymore. You can assign it over to a person or an AI. And when you have those three things, you can start actually creating productivity inside of your business.
Which gives you more
I
time.
honestly, I was gonna say, Natalie, I would love to do. Maybe we should do off the podcast, maybe a tutorial on this because I feel like I need to learn some of this. I think I'm
Yeah.
doing it wrong. I'm like, oh man, I have one AI and it's doing this, but I'm like, oh, you have specialized, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is really cool. I didn't think about it that way, and
And
so I
the
think
thing
even
too,
for us, we're learning from each other. So I think yeah, this would be
Absolutely.
great.
There's like cross
yeah,
training.
the other thing, and
Hmm.
this is maybe more of the advanced side of things, is now you can integrate it with Zapier and automations and things. So, like for example, I have ideas for social content I plug in. Once I change the status in my software manager or my task manager, it automatically sends it to ChatGPT, responds in my voice with an idea for like an article or a post. So there's a lot of this that now, if you can work out what the steps are you want it to follow, you can start to automate those things. And I'm like, I might not need my assistant anymore to help with 50% of this process. I can shift her focus to other things that make money and save money over here.
That's
Nice.
fascinating. No, we
So
definitely need to
Yeah.
get deeper into that and understanding. Are there any other elements that you want to show us from this persona?
So we talked about defining your audience. You want to define your competitors. The other thing that's really cool is you can spy on your competitors anyway. Just go to their feed, go to their website, things like that. But you can now have AIs go and scrape data from them. You can have it analyze things. You can have it analyze posts and say, like, what are their core topics that they're talking about? What's better about them than about me? Like, even just
Mm.
being willing to ask that question and find out the answer, you're just empowered with better knowledge. So The last thing I think that is important, and we'll have this available for people so they can download this, is to test it, right? Test it, ask it how it can help you, and just use it. And the more that you use it and refine it, the better it gets.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
So,
This was great. We really do need this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Happy to help. All right.
Cool.
So I know that we had a really cool topic planned, but that we had an even cooler one come up. So Hector, tell us about this even cooler thing that popped up last night.
Yeah, I was rolling to dinner with my wife last night, and she was on her phone. You know, sometimes I say she's a professional surfer. She's like, boom, you know, and she caught this story, and she shared it with me over dinner, and it was nuts, like totally nuts, and it involves AI, and it's AI like breaking news. There's a lady in San Francisco that she's the very first recipient of having a stroke like 20 years ago, not being able to speak to her husband or her children, and she has this implant that has allowed her to speak, and it's AI, and it's nuts.
Wow.
Reko, I think I shared the link with you, but
yes, you did.
It's a Neuralink, and she actually has an attachment on her head, and they did a voice synthesis from her wedding speech to capture her voice. They created an avatar in her likeness, and without speaking, just using this Neuralink. It isn't Neuralink, but it's a version of that.
Yeah.
She's the first recipient here in California, where we call home. She can now speak to her husband, and she's got a sense of humor.
So wild,
right? It's her
I mean,
voice with an avatar.
Isn't there a plug in the back of your neck on the Matrix?
The Matrix. Yeah. This one has a plug in the back of her head.
It's real.
But do you guys want to see the clip?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Yes, let's check it out. You'll be blown away. This is nuts.
Hey Anne, how's it going?
It is good to see you.
Giving them the ability to communicate again with their loved ones and caregivers is really what we're looking to do.
I was thinking about running to the store.
What time will you be home?
In about an hour.
Do not make me laugh.
I mean,
Aww.
right?
Gosh.
That is amazing. She was playing volleyball. She was like young, and she was playing volleyball with her friends, and she had a stroke, and she couldn't speak after that.
So this 20
is giving
years?
given her the ability to speak again to her family and have joy. And I mean, this is late breaking news, baby. This is yesterday. Yeah.
And this is only the beginning. If you think about it, this is the beginning of AI. We're just, when it comes to consumers, because it's been around for a long time behind closed doors, but for us to start seeing how the implications are going to be, the health industry, that's going to be immense. Think about all of these things like that person there, people who have, we might have people who are quadriplegic, might be able to walk with robotic assistance and AI.
People that have ALS, brain issues. There's a ton of people, more than we know, that have brain issues. So,
these ways of integrating AI with us as humans, right? Like, that's literally a thing plugged into her skull, to her brain.
Yes.
That's incredible. And it takes a person who's willing to be not necessarily like laughed at, but it's like, oh, that's crazy. Like, how much, speaking of like, well, the age of average, look, on average, people are probably going to look at you and say that that's crazy, but there are people who are willing to go fund those things. There's, Harvard and Stanford students who are actually like devoting time to making this reality. And I just think it's amazing that it's up to our creativity to decide how we want to use this incredible tool to make life better for us and for others.
And that's what we're all
And
about, is not bringing negativity, not bringing fear, but bringing this is a case study like no other, right? This is a human being that has changed her life over this. You saw her laugh. That's joy. That is like,
and her
wow.
husband, I mean, now he can communicate. I can't, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, and it's just like, wow,
Right?
this 20
Yes.
years and you can't even communicate. You're communicating, but you can't get really communication back.
Mm.
That must be
Yeah.
tough to now have her be able to speak to you
In her
Oh,
voice,
in her, oh,
synthesized from her wedding day.
that
Yeah,
just
and we
means
take
that's a
that so
lot.
for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like
We do.
we are all able-bodied people, like the three of us on this call, right? And it's like, man, what it really means to for one human to another, that is so powerful. And I think that's it's worth investing time, resources, effort into those things. And like we see so much of this stuff that's like make a quick buck. And we're like, no, look, money's great. Let's make it, yes. But let's make it so that we can make people's lives better. Let's make it so ALS, survivors have the ability to talk to their loved ones or or whatever application it is.
Yeah. Wow. We should make it a point to reach out to her and see if we can have her on our podcast. That would be
Oh, that'd be
that would
awesome.
be
And then we have another
amazing.
clip.
Cool.
I'm going to share another clip from it because I thought this was also a really beautiful thing that was said from them.
It's important to develop technologies which can better support individuals with disabilities because it's a huge amount of people who we exclude from workplaces.
My hope is that this is going to be just a stepping stone to many other things that can be done for people who have lost the ability to communicate, to realize their full potential.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
That's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
I like those
Yeah.
introductions. We'll link the whole video right in our show notes so that people
Yeah,
can watch
yeah.
it
I
on
think
their
people
own
should watch
time.
the whole thing. Yeah, you're right. But it's beautiful,
You
like
know-
you said, these students are doing this right now. They're building these systems to help us.
Yeah. She wants to be a counselor. And with that, she's going to be able to be a counselor. That's incredible.
Oh, we should
Yeah,
track her
she's
journey. I
inspiring.
mean, yeah, you're right. If we can get her on the podcast, we can try to track her journey and see how
Yeah.
the system and this AI is helping her and how she's impacting others.
Yeah.
It's a trickle down effect.
Yeah. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yep.
Yeah, I think there's the notion that sustainable solutions that actually make life better for other people is a really cool string to pull on because adding value, we're the three of us, we're entrepreneurs, we're business people, and we personally have found that when we add value to people first from a genuine place, not from a hey, quid pro quo, but when we're like, even with this mission of AI23 wanting to, help bring AI to humanity in a responsible way, it's like people pay attention to things that really, really mean something. And I think you get a lot of traction when you take a perspective like that to your business and how you actually want to grow whatever it is you might be doing.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Deep
Cool.
stuff, fun stuff. Yeah. What a day it was today. We went on a lot of different curves, like a little bit of a roller coaster, a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. So all good though.
But we did start with, the age of average. And I think it was really good to start understanding that this is what's happening today in society. There's a lot of stuff that's mediocre and people are just doing that. They're not trying to stand out. And then through having ChatGPT write in your voice, you see the work that you have to do. It is about putting the work into it. It's not something that just snap of a finger. And I think that's the problem with Americans. I think in America, we want everything to be so fast, so simple. Take a pill, lose 10 pounds. That's not how it works. There's always consequences to that. It's like you have to put in the effort, go to the gym, eat right, track your macros. That's how you lose weight naturally. And I think that's how you grow a business too. It's like you have to put in the effort. You have to know what your missions are, your vision. How do you stand out? What is the value that you're bringing to the consumer, the client? not look what they're doing. What are you doing? And
Right.
then, we wrapped it up with this video, which is also showing us not to fear AI, but to also embrace it. It's going to impact your life in so many different ways. Obviously, we're talking more on the business side and technology, but look at healthcare. We're not in that
Yeah.
world. So to me, just to see that, I'm like, wow, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
We're helping people have a better life, a quality of life.
Yeah, and I think it's those people who are, because I work with a pharmacist, and it's like you understand an entirely different world, right? And this is what I would say is whoever you are, whoever is listening, you live in a world that not everybody does, and you're going to see opportunities to create solutions. And so by banding together with people who can help you bring that to life, like I think that's where we're going to succeed, is coming together. And I mean, that's how AI works, right? It's got all of this like information it can connect with, and so it's that connection that you have with the right people in your life, and taking those ideas and when they're aligned with like making humanity better, it's like, yes, that's what we want. The good people out there want to pursue creating solutions that make humanity better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's us for sure.
Yeah.
And learning
Well,
from
this
each
has
other.
been. Say that again.
I said, and learning from each other, just like right now, you taught us something with ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
I am like, you're
Yeah.
right. We need to all share what we're doing and help each other, because we're building this right now. AI is not just being built by some guys at Stanford. It's literally being
Right.
built by all of us using it. So how are we using it? How are we working together? We need to learn from each other and build a community where we're sharing that knowledge so that we can make
Yeah.
sure that it's moving in the right direction, not the wrong direction.
And so far, I've found nothing but just amazing people in the AI community. So, we're starting to do this man on the street thing, and I interview people all the time. We're interviewing people, and people have really, really divided opinions on this. But what I've found, almost everybody is amazing in this AI community because we're all supporting each other. We all want to learn. I haven't met anyone that has any like ill will or, that's actually using it for good, using it to educate, using it to share. It's just a rich community. I feel blessed to be a part of this community here, us three, and all of the outreach that we've been doing. Everybody is embracing and lifting us up, just like this morning. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that another time, but what an amazing gift, we received this morning of support and appreciation and camaraderie. So,
Amen.
yeah, all good
And
stuff.
we're not naive to all the bad, the negative, right? I think what we do is we choose to see the opportunity and we choose to see the good, because by doing that, we amplify that, right? Like, which wolf are you going to feed? We're going to feed the wolf that
There you
helps
go.
of AI that like makes life better.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
fabulous. Well, we appreciate everyone who's been listening. We're so grateful for you guys, and we've had an awesome episode. We would love for you guys to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anybody in your network that you think would get value from it. And your support helps us reach more people like you so that we can grow and share more education about artificial intelligence. So until next time, keep your curiosity alive and stay tuned for more exciting topics.